I want to share with you the greatest miracle that I have ever received as given to me by the infant Jesus of Prague. If you're new here, my name is Alvaro, and I have over 100,000 subscribers with my channel Uniquely Mary that focuses almost exclusively on purgatory. But here in Uniquely Mystic, I want to give to you the best of the Catholic mystical tradition. If you want to support this channel in any way, please do so through Buy Me a Coffee. Let's get right into it. Now, up until this point, I have never shared this story at all, except with my wife. This is the first time that I'm coming out to share this with people. So let's begin. Now, the year was 2003, and it was around December. At that time, I was getting my master's in counseling psychology. I work kind of as a therapist as well here in Texas. And I was doing my daily drive from my parents' house down to the university. And there was this part of the drive that you would take the highway and it would go around the downtown area. Now, as it was going there, you'd be going 70. And as you were approaching the downtown area, people would kind of get distracted and they would start braking. And that part always drove me crazy. And I was a little bit impatient at that time. And I hated that they would start braking because I wanted to keep going fast and keep going down toward my destination. So that day I was pushing and pushing, wanting to get to school as early as possible or as quickly as possible. And people started braking. But I didn't care. I kept accelerating and going and going. And then the cars in front of me stopped suddenly and I hit the brakes and I wasn't able to stop. I slammed into them. I slammed into one car and then two cars slammed into me from behind. So the car was not working. I couldn't drive it and I had to have my parents pick me up and take me back home. A few hours later, my dad was asking me, was it my fault? He asked me 2 or 3 times, and each of those times, I completely and flat out lied to him. Now, kind of a little bit of context. About 3 years earlier, I had had my conversion to the Catholic faith, back to the Catholic faith, because I was born and raised Catholic. And so telling the truth was incredibly important to me. But because of my own fear of making my father angry, I just simply could not tell him the truth, and I flat out lied. Well, either that night or the next day, I was so distressed at my sin that I went to my local church and I was praying in adoration, and there happened to be a priest there from the community of St. John. He was giving like a type of retreat. I'll never forget his presence because he had a gray habit. And so he really kind of stood out in my mind. Well, I asked him if I could go to confession, and I confessed my sin. He told me, why don't you just tell him the truth? And that was such a scary thought. There's a long history of why that was such a scary thought that I couldn't do it. I began weeping, and he said, okay, just do this penance and say your act of contrition. And he granted me absolution. I know the Lord wanted me to tell my dad the truth. In fact, I was subscribing to a Catholic magazine at that time. And one of the articles on the front cover said, tell the truth. Like even God was telling me, please just tell your dad the truth. I couldn't do it. That December and that Christmas came and went. Fast forward a year later to the year 2004, around the same time. And around that time, I felt inspired to do a novena to the infant Jesus of Prague. And something in me, I don't know if I heard this or read this or just was inspired by the Holy Spirit, told me that if I wanted to do a novena, I needed to offer a sacrifice. Well, that year, for whatever the reason, 9 days before Christmas, I believe the novena ended on Christmas Eve, the 24th, I decided to ask for snow. I wanted it to snow on Christmas. And I thought, I really want this. What sacrifice do I want to make? And I realized interiorly that the sacrifice that I needed to make was I needed to tell my dad the truth. So I prayed the novena for probably 3 to 4 days, and about halfway into it, I decided to talk to my dad. And I said, Dad, I need to tell you something. So we went into kind of the study of the house, and I said, Dad, I need to tell you something that I lied to you about last year. Last year, I told you that it wasn't my fault when I had that car accident, and the truth was it was my fault. I was the reason why that accident happened. Well, at that moment, my dad kind of chuckled to himself and he said, "My son, are there any other sins that you want to confess to me?" And there weren't. And just the tension was incredibly released from my body. And we probably hugged, probably afterwards, I probably wept. I was so glad that I was given the grace to have that courage. And I finished the novena. The novena finished, I remember finished it in the morning of December 24th. December 24th, 2004, that evening, it snowed. Not only did it snow, you can look up the miraculous Christmas snow of Houston 2004. It snowed from Houston all the way down to the entire Texas coast, all the way into Mexico. It snowed like you would not believe, and it was so beautiful. The snow was so soft. It was amazing. And I knew maybe there was someone else praying for that same thing. Maybe it just happened to be coincidence. I don't know, but everything coincided to where I knew that the infant Jesus of Prague had granted me my prayer, and he had granted it in such a way that the entire section of the state received that outpouring of grace. And when I thought about sharing this, because it's been like over 20 years, and I thought, I'm not going to tell this story because everyone's going to think I'm crazy. They're not going to believe this. And I was in prayer today talking to Jesus about it. And he said, look, you were just the instrument. I was the one who had the power and granted that. And there's a lot of reasons why I'm sharing this to you. And as I was praying this morning, I was actually praying the litany of the infant Jesus of Prague. And let me read to you one of the things that it's one of the lines, which I prayed over and over when I got to it, says, "From all doubts in thy power of miracles, deliver us, O Jesus." Now, why am I sharing this with you? His incredible power. So, this Christmas, my brother gave me $100 gift card. And when I got it, sometimes I'll usually just say, great, this is awesome. But this time when I got it, I thought, I'm supposed to do something with this. What am I supposed to do? And I went back and forth. Should I buy this? Should I buy that? So I kept it for about maybe 5 or 10 days, and I did nothing with it. And then I realized, you know what? There's something I'm supposed to buy. So I actually went and I ordered a small statue of the infant Jesus of Prague. And when I ordered that statue, and I got it, for some reason, the word that kept coming to mind was innocence. I think either after or before hearing that word, I had read a story about purgatory, actually, that one of the traits that we need to have to enter heaven, to skip purgatory, is an incredible amount of innocence. That this trait, which another theological way to describe it would be a complete detachment from all sin, to have the innocence of God. I just really got that word. So I ordered it. I got the statue, but I still didn't really do anything with it. It's there in our little prayer niche. I did the novena. I do that novena every Christmas. But it's like I haven't really sort of done anything with this devotion. Well, today, yesterday and today, I was listening to this beautiful video about the infant Jesus of Prague, telling its story, about its miraculous powers, all these incredible things. And then, I don't know if it was a brother or a priest or a layman who was telling the story, but then he got to the part about the chaplet of the infant Jesus of Prague. I think it's like about 12 beads. It's very small. I've actually never prayed it before. And he started describing it. And he said that when this was given to this nun who was asking God to inspire her in a way to honor the infant Jesus of Prague more, she was given this chaplet, and she said that it was seen that it was radiating with supernatural light. And there would be 4 things that it would grant you. One of them was purity of heart. The second and third thing was that you would be provided for spiritually and materially, which all of us, it's a difficult time. Things are expensive. Money is a stressful thing. How could you not want to be provided for materially or spiritually? But then the fourth thing was the grace of innocence. And when I heard that, I stopped the video and I thought, wait a minute. that's where this all ties together. That's what I'm supposed to do. So I went online immediately and I ordered a chaplet of the infant Jesus of Prague. And then I realized that I'm supposed to share this story because this is being recorded now a month after Christmas. In 2004, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day fell on a Friday and a Saturday. Well, today's a Friday, January 23rd, and we're about to get hit with another snowstorm here in Texas 1 month after Christmas. So it kind of brought to mind all of these memories. And I really want to impart to you this devotion. I love the Carmelite spirituality and St. Therese and St. Teresa of Avila and the scapular and all these amazing things. And they give us so much in the mystical tradition. And so to speak, the diadem of their mystical tradition is this, the smallest thing, this devotion to the infant Jesus of Prague and this grace that it gives you, innocence, because this virtue, when I was thinking about it, this is how I would describe it to you. The Roman legions, when they had armies, they had these incredible shields, and then they would lock and interlock their shields together, and they were an unbeatable force. But they would also use their shields, because they were so large, they would use them as weapons against their enemy. And it came to me that innocence, that's exactly what it is. It's a shield that doubles as a weapon. It's the reason why St. Joseph is called terror of demons. He is called terror of demons for many reasons, but the highlight of them is because of his innocence. His innocence is a weapon against evil. And that's exactly what we need. It will get us out of purgatory. It will get us into heaven. And above all, it will help us fight the incredible demonic forces that surround us on every side. It will make us invincible against them. So, my friends, if you want to increase your mystical experiences, if you want to see miracles in your life, if you want to have incredible purity of heart and innocence, then I want to gift to you today this grace, this love for the infant Jesus of Prague, because the more you honor him, the more he will bless you. My friends, if this video has helped you in any way, please subscribe and like and support this channel through Buy Me a Coffee, and check out my other channel, Uniquely Mary, where I talk all about purgatory. I'll see you in the next one.